Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Tuesday. This is Game Day Live, coming to you live from American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place in beautiful Newark, New Jersey, where the best hockey fans reside, New Jersey Devils fans. Live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Vinnie, Parise, pucksandpitchforks.com. Vinnie, how are you, my friend? It's a packed house tonight here at American Whiskey before the Devils take on the Chicago Blackhawks.
I'm doing very good, Sam. Ooh, that jersey looks fantastic on you. That great green and red New Jersey Devils, it looks wonderful. I'm so excited to see the Chicago Blackhawks in New Jersey to play against the New Jersey Devils in what is supposed to be a really fun game. The Blackhawks, they've struggled so far this year. The Devils, they are ready to rock and roll. It was a tough game last game against the Philadelphia Flyers, and they still found a way to come out with 2 points in those awesome-looking reverse retro jerseys. Very excited for tonight's game, Sam.
Yeah, the Devils have a 5-game point streak. If it wasn't for that Toronto game, I'm still mad about it. But hey, you know what? They are doing very well right now, top of the standings, and looking to stay there. But they play the Blackhawks tonight, Vinnie. And what are your thoughts tonight, how the Blackhawks match up with the New Jersey Devils?
I actually think the Chicago Blackhawks match up very horribly for the New Jersey, or they match up terribly against the New Jersey Devils for themselves. They're very bad. They're not the Chicago Blackhawks that we came to know during the 2010s. Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews are still there. I believe Toews is a game-time decision because he missed the morning skate because he was ill earlier today. But it's one of those things where the Blackhawks are just not very good. And the Devils are fast. They're smart. They get on pucks hard, and the Blackhawks defense, they haven't been really good at stopping those kinds of teams. We've seen the New York Islanders. We've seen the Boston Bruins, the Pittsburgh Penguins dump 40 shots on them a game. If they don't get outstanding, and I'm talking like outstanding goaltending, they don't win. And they basically get creamed every single time that happens. The New York Islanders outshot them 40-21 on Sunday night, and the Devils, they have way more high-volume shooters than the New York Islanders do. So I'm expecting this to be a really good game for the New Jersey Devils. This is the type of game where you have to go out there and assert your dominance for other people to believe that you're one of the true powers out there. The Blackhawks, they got their eyes set on a top 3 NHL draft pick. So we'll see what's able to come of this game, but I do not think the Hawks match up well against the Devils. The Devils should be licking their chops on being able to skate out there against this type of team.
Yeah, Vinny. And you know what? Devils have goaltending now. Vanacek is playing extremely well. Akir Schmid comes out of nowhere, 5-0-0 with nearly a 95% save percentage. Will there be a spot for Mackenzie Blackwood when he comes back? I'm sure there will be, but yeah, Schmid is making it very, very difficult for the Devils coaches to make a decision. But you know what? That's a happy problem. Something the Devils haven't had in, maybe over 2 decades.
Yeah, I mean, the Devils' goaltending situation is very interesting. Last year, they used 7 goaltenders. And if you had to rank them, Akira Schmid might have been like the 7th one, right? But, You know, I know they had a couple guys off waivers and whatnot, but I'm happy with this trio of goaltenders right now. If Blackwood's your worst goaltender out of 3, you're doing pretty well. There are a lot of teams that I think would give up something for a Mackenzie Blackwater and Akira Schmid for this season. Obviously, Vitek Vanacek has taken over as the number one goaltender. I believe he will stay there for the rest of the season. But hey, if you got three goalies who can get the job done for you, you're in a way better place than 98% of the whole league. Of course, there are teams like the Lightning with Andrei Vasilevsky or Shesterkin in New York, or New York team, the New York Islanders, Ilya Sorokin. The Devils are going to see both of those two juggernaut-type goaltenders over the weekend. We're excited for that. But, against the Chicago Blackhawks team, if Vitek Vanacek, who was in the starters net during practice this morning, the morning skate, if he plays, the way he's been playing all season long, this should be the type of game that the Devils are able to win. But like you said, it's nice to get Blackwood back. People forget about Bernier. Bernier is eventually going to come back at some point, you'd think. Who knows what's going to happen when that becomes a reality.
I think he's done, though. I have no proof of that, but I think he's done.
Your mic is down a little bit for me.
Sorry. I think Bernier's done, to be honest, at his salary. But, look, the Devils have a happy problem, unlike last season where they traded away Wedgwood, and then suddenly Blackwood and Bernier went out, and then they had to go to basically rookies, a first professional season in North America for Nico Dawes, and he had to carry the load. I thought he played pretty well, all things considering. So I think the Devils are doing better there. And now Marty Brodeur, now VP of Hockey Ops, I think he knows a little thing or two about goaltending. So the goaltending, I think, is fine for now.
Yeah, I have no problem with the way things have gone for the Devils in net. If Vitek Vanacek can continue to play the way that we know that he can, listen, the team is built on speed and tenacity, hard on the puck, being smarter than everyone is their goal. And every now and then you're going to be outplayed a little bit like they were against Nashville and even the Flyers. But if you get good goaltending, your skill's eventually going to take over up front. And we know that the Devils have a big three of Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, and Jesper Bratt, who are going to go out there and score lots of goals. They have 3-point-per-game players. You know how many teams would kill to have 3-point-per-game player and a goaltender that's getting the job done? We know how good they've been on defense. So, like you said, with this goaltending, we're in a great spot.
Definitely in a great spot. And you know what? Let's change gears. Let's talk about the New Jersey Devils fans taking over buildings on the road. Last game against the Flyers, you heard the Let's Go Devils chants. Madison Square Garden, they were loud, taunting Igor Shesterkin in his own building. And you can hear it right now here at American Whiskey. What are your thoughts, Vinnie? I mean, the team is, look, 40 years in the making. When they put the New Jersey Devils on the map back in 1982, you were in the backyard of the New York Rangers, the New York Islanders, the Hartford Whalers, the Philadelphia Flyers, all within a 200 square mile radius. Now the fan base is maturing, and they're traveling well right now.
They are traveling well. Listen, if you go based on pure numbers, the New Jersey Devils fan base might not be quite like the New York Rangers or the New York Islanders or the Chicago Blackhawks, Montreal Canadiens, but they're getting there. And I'll tell you one other thing, Sam Wu. They're loud. They're loud. They're the loud minority on Twitter.com. When someone posts something nationally about the Devils or about, asking a question, hey, who would you rather have in this situation? You read the comments. It is largely New Jersey Devils fans under there. They're one of the most passionate fan bases online. We see what things happen when people go against one of our guys, even if it's a guy that,
Do you remember that fan? Do you remember that New Jersey Devils fan? I think her name was Lauren Rubino, that got in a Twitter war with the Florida Panthers owner, and then went back and forth during the playoffs, and finally he got her a seat for Game 7. Where Adam Henrique, I believe, scored the game-winning goal that game.
Absolutely. Don't mess with New Jersey Devils fans. We're a rowdy bunch, and when you mess with our team, we're going to fight right back. There's no reason for any of that. This New Jersey Devils team is good. We're seeing what this fan base can be when this team is good, and I'll tell you what, I'm proud of it.
Most misunderstood fan base pretty much in the NHL. Nobody understands New Jersey. You have to be from Jersey to understand Jersey. Taylor ham, pork roll. There's all this nuances of New Jersey. And then you got the outsiders that like to chirp about Devils fans. But, it's getting old.
Yeah, it is getting old. I mean, they're the third team in a large metropolitan, right? Like a lot of times we see it in baseball all the time. The New York Mets are the second team in New York, right, to the Yankees. The Chicago White Sox are the second team to the Cubs in Chicago. Like there are examples of that all over the country. Very few areas, though, have a third team. The Devils are that third team, and out of the three teams, they've been the most successful in their franchise's history. Not really as much lately. The Rangers have a couple Stanley Cup final appearances or conference final appearances. The Islanders played the Lightning in 2 straight Game 7s. But in the long scope of their entire history, the Devils are by far the most successful. And this team has built something great over the last 40 years, and it's not going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, and you know what? The 10 years of waiting, I mean, since 2012, the rebuild, the never-ending rebuild. I never thought this day would happen. I'll be honest with you. I started losing faith in the ownership group. Well, I started losing faith a long time ago, the ownership group. But, you know what? Tom Fitzgerald, every single move he's made, you can make an argument that he turns into gold. I mean, flipping picks and adding a third rounder for Vanacek. We debated who was going to be the goaltender last offseason. Okay, he gets ghosted by Johnny Gaudreau. What does he do? He gets Palat. I know he's hurt, but you know what? I still think that he's having an impact. And we asked Catherine Bogart on State of Fan Address what her thoughts were. And you know what? He's obviously involved in the team. And I think Fitzgerald put together this past offseason the help that Nico Hischier needs. He's a young captain, and he had to do it all by himself. He got thrown, he comes back from injury during a COVID-shortened season. He comes back from injury, and then he gets injured again. Then he got COVID. All that. He had a big struggle at the tender age of 22, 23 years old. Now he's got the help. He's got Brendan Smith. He's got character guys, Eric Holla. I think this could be, and there's a lot of people here, and I don't want to jinx it, but it could be making something so special we've never seen before with the New Jersey Devils franchise.
There's no doubt about it. The Devils got a little lucky. There's no doubt about it. You don't get to draft players like Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes every season. They won a lottery that every team had an opportunity to win, and the Devils, the ping pong balls fell their way, and they got to select Nico Hischier first overall. They made that choice over Nolan Patrick. People could get on Cale Makar all they want. The Devils were never drafting Cale Makar. The Flyers were never drafting Cale Makar. Neither was Dallas. Cale Makar went to college and was awesome, and he bloomed. He was a late bloomer in college, not in the NHL. But he wasn't a late bloomer, but in terms of his draft, like he was the 4th overall pick instead of the 1st overall pick for a reason. The Devils were always taking one of the two forwards. It was Nico versus Nolan, and they made that decision to take Nico. Now, Jack Hughes, a little bit more surefire. When they won the lottery, it was so obvious that he was going to be the guy, even though there were some people out there, Capo, yeah, okay. He plays against men, yeah, whatever. It was just so dumb. But Jack Hughes has clearly come into this league and proven that he is just an absolute superstar. And the Devils got these guys now on relatively cheap contracts. Now, listen, we'd all sign up for 8 cheats a year. That'd be nice. But Jack Hughes, he would get 12 on an open market in a year or two. I truly believe that. And they got him for 8.5. Hischier's on 7.5. These are a couple of bargain contracts. You'll see how much of a bargain they are when Jesper Bratt signs his next contract. And Jesper Bratt's amazing on the wing, but he doesn't have the tools that Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes have down the middle of the ice. So, it's good times in New Jersey. Dougie Hamilton is here to stay. We got Luke Hughes and Simone Nemec on the way. There's a lot to look forward to for a long time.
You saw Luke Hughes at Michigan, Wisconsin. How is Luke Hughes looking right now?
So when you watch Michigan play, and listen, Michigan's got some studs. Last year they had Owen Power and Matty Beniers and Kent Johnson, who all are in the NHL right now playing for the Kraken and the Buffalo Sabres, Columbus Blue Jackets, all sorts of stuff. But even today, this Michigan team is loaded with some NHL talent. Luke Hughes was so obviously amongst the best of the bunch. He was like a forward playing defense out there. I don't think it's going to be quite like that in the NHL. He clearly is a physical specimen compared to most of his college peers, and he's playing out there with Adam Fantilli, who's going to be the number 2 overall pick in next year's draft, and that was a delight to watch. He had the primary assist on a Fantilli goal that he scored from the goal line. I mean, he scored a goal himself, Luke Hughes. He gets himself in position to do the right thing out there, and man, it was a pleasure to watch him in person, knowing that likely next year, even possibly the end of this year, if the Devils make the playoffs and need a defenseman to come in and fill a spot, Luke Hughes is amazing, and it was awesome to see him play for Michigan. I went on Friday night. They were playing against Wisconsin, and he's a difference maker out there. And I know it's college. We'll see if it translates to the NHL, but it translates to the NHL for a lot of guys. We've seen top flight defensemen in college hockey like Adam Fox and Cale Makar and Charlie McAvoy. I hope he's amongst those guys in terms of the impact in the NHL. It's not a guarantee by any means, but it's certainly like the ceiling. He was the 4th overall pick for a reason. And the Devils, he's going to get to come in, live with Jack Hughes. I'm super excited about Luke Hughes and another person, Seamus Casey, playing for Michigan. He's got to be amongst the Devils. He was amazing too. He had the secondary assist on the Fantilli goal I was telling you about. It was Fantilli from the 2 Devils. And Fantilli's going to play for like the Ducks or the Sharks or the Blackhawks, depending on who has the number 2 overall pick. But seeing him get out there and be a beneficiary of 2 studly defensemen on a power play like that, it was just super cool. So I'm so excited for Luke Hughes.
How about Ethan Edwards? Were you able to catch him at Michigan as well?
Yes, I was able to catch Ethan Edwards. The interesting thing about him for me is at Michigan, he's largely like a stay-at-home kind of guy. He plays with Seamus on the second pair, and Seamus is doing things that Luke Hughes was doing last year, kind of like that freshman college defenseman that like is trying to get their feet wet offensively. You could tell Luke Hughes is pulling back on the offense just a little bit, even though he had a goal and an assist. He's trying to work on things that'll make him a better two-way defenseman to prepare him for the NHL. That to me was obvious. Seamus is where Luke was last year. It's all about being sparkly and fun to watch, and so, seeing what's his name, Edwards, on the pair with him, he was clear that he's the guy who's going to be like staying back and, collect points if he can. He can make an impact, but it wouldn't surprise me if he gets a look with the Devils over the next couple years. But again, space is limited, time is limited. He's going to have to prove himself, but it was a good showing for him for me.
Yeah, Dave Singer in the YouTube Live says Dawson Mercer greater than Lafreniere. So that's another thing that we didn't even talk about yet. The drafting of Tom Fitzgerald and Alexander Holtz. Is he going to be in the lineup tonight?
I'm not sure if Alexander Holtz is going to be in the lineup tonight. We're still waiting to see how that all comes, but I would assume he is because we're not going to see Nathan Bastian for a while. I can actually get on that right now, but as far as Mercer, listen, Lafreniere went to the Rangers, and I do find it odd. And listen, no one loves ripping on the Rangers more than me. Follow me on Twitter at Vinnie Parise. You'll see lots of Ranger hate. They aren't having success developing forwards. Jimmy Vesey signed there out of college, and we all thought he was going to come in and be this rock star. The Rangers turned him into like a 4th liner. Lafreniere, Kako, all of their young forwards. Hedl, I thought Hedl was going to be a superstar. He's a good player. I thought he'd be a superstar. Pavel Buchnevich got out of there just in time to go to the St. Louis Blues. They're struggling developing forwards. I don't know what it is. All their best forwards, Panarin, Kreider, Zibanejad, all guys that are older and have either been there for a while or were brought in from outside organizations. This current regime is not doing the best job developing the young guys. And so I'm not going to rip on Lafreniere compared to Mercer. Mercer went into a situation where he was able to fully be himself as a player. And listen, I hope Mercer ends up being better than Lafreniere because that will make the Devils better. But, Holtz is a different story. I think he's got to worry about his skating, but, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and I also want to give a shout out to Matt Freudenberger for putting that tape down. But now I think it's up again. So just make sure you don't trip over the wire. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we did a little hack job installing that speaker wire. But anyway, all right. So predictions. I didn't make the graphics, so I forgot what you were predicting. Betstamp.app. Go to betstamp.app to make all your bets. It is the Trivago of sports betting. Get your best bets with sports books. Who did you pick, Vinny?
Yeah. Thank you very much to BetStamp. Very much a fan of coming on the app every time the Devils play and putting my wager on what I think the New Jersey Devils are going to do. I haven't seen the Devils be a favorite more in a long time than they are against this Chicago Blackhawks team. That is one of the worst teams in the NHL. I think the Blackhawks right now are 31st out of 32. That's a tough look. So I've seen something today that I never saw before. It had on BetStamp to go to the FanDuel Sportsbook, and you could get the Devils at -2.5. Normally, every puck line is 1.5 usually. FanDuel has it at 2.5 at +126 odds. That's betting the Devils to win by 3. And I'm rolling with it. I think the New Jersey Devils can beat the Chicago Blackhawks by 3 or more goals. I have them winning the game by a final score of 6-2 via the FanDuel Sportsbook app, +126 at a -2.5 goal spread.
I'm close. I'm 5-2 Devils today over the Blackhawks. I mean, what's great about this season compared to last season making these predictions, Vinny, we're like 95% right.
That's because we're a couple of homers picking the New Jersey Devils every single time, and they win almost every single game. So credit to us. We're smarter than you.
Although I did pick the Flyers to win on the opening night, which was a very unpopular thing, but I was in Philadelphia when I made that decision just to save my life at Chickies and Pete's on opening night. Vinny, any final thoughts?
Yeah, you ended up being right. Besides that, though, the Chicago Blackhawks team, they are not, as good as we've seen Chicago Blackhawks teams be, but I think they play hard. Luke Richardson's a really good coach. We'll see if Taves ends up playing for them tonight. He was sick this morning, so he missed their morning skate. Patrick Kane in open ice is still one of the most dangerous players in the NHL. He plays with Max Domi. They have good chemistry every now and again. They don't have the points that they probably would if they had a little bit better of a centerman playing with them regularly. But you have Taves playing with Kane lately, and things have been better for them. They had some good points against the New York Rangers over the weekend. But it's just not the same for them right now. I do think they'll both be traded at some point. I don't know where. The New York Islanders are going to be in the mix, I think, for a player like Patrick Kane, believe it or not. We'll see what happens, but I don't necessarily think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think it'll be more towards the trade deadline. But this Blackhawks team, their defense is bad. They're starting Arvid Soderblom in net, who is a young rookie goaltender who is really, really good. They see him as a potential to be their number one goalie, but he's not where they need him to be just yet. And it's going to be a while before he is, which makes me think that the Devils should be able to win this game. This is the type of game where even if you don't play your best, you still might be able to out-talent them. That doesn't always work in the NHL, as we've seen. They are lost to the Flyers. Pretty much all of their losses are to teams worse than them. But you got to go out there. If they go out there and play their game the way that everybody knows that they can, this is going to be a tough one for the Blackhawks. And I believe the Devils have the firepower to go out there and do it. Like I said, if I was Jack Hughes or Nico Hischier, I'd be licking my chops trying to play against that bottom six of the Blackhawks and the top four defense of them. So we'll see what happens.
All right, well, we're going to get out of here. Just remember, Devils After Dark after the game, post-game with Scotty of SiriusXM, Liquid Metal, and I will recap the game that was. I want to thank all those tuning in here at American Whiskey on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch. It's a packed house. Devils, Blackhawks. Just trying to hit the music, Vinny.
Hit the music, Sam. Oh, don't forget, next show, Vinnie Parise in New Jersey for Devils versus Islanders.
Yep, Vinny's going to be here December 9th, Nico and Chico night. They're giving out bobblehead dolls across the street. Come to American Whiskey, 51 Edison Place. Till next time, let's go Devils.